I was born here in Alexandria at Baptist Hospital and lived in Alexandria through the first grade. I attended Rugg Elementary. We lived on Barrister Street, of all places. We moved to Pineville after I finished the first grade. I ended up going to LSUA. I worked, and so I saved enough money to go to LSU. And I was there for the fall semester. My money pretty much played out after that semester. I came back to LSUA and went the spring semester, worked again, saved my money, and I went back to LSU. I had met my wife to be at LSUA. She later transferred to LSU. She graduated in 3.5 years. I'm still in undergraduate school, and so we got married. And we went back to Baton Rouge. She was a teacher. I worked part-time and finished up at LSU in 1966. I was able to get a job at the legislature with the Legislative Council, which is the drafting of legislation, doing some research for legislators and that sort of thing. When I graduated, one of my professors, a man by the name of Winston Riddick, who had political aspirations of his own, had been involved in some politics and that sort of thing. And he made a recommendation to the executive director of Council for a Better Louisiana Cable. They were looking for a young staff person to come on board. He recommended them to me. And so in between my undergraduate time and going to law school, I worked for 1.5 years. We had just had our first child, and so that gave me an opportunity to kind of make that adjustment. And I had plans to go to law school, but hadn't really taken any affirmative steps to do that. I also got assigned to a project that Justice Sanders of the Louisiana Supreme Court was interested in, which was a major federal bill involving funding for local law enforcement. We were beginning to have riots and civil disorder, and so Congress passed this omnibus law enforcement bill, and Justice Sanders headed that up on behalf of cable. And so in my working directly with him, he knew that my future plans were to go to law school, and he encouraged me to come to New Orleans, where I would be closer and readily available to him to further work on this project. The director of the Legislative Council was DeVan Daggett, who was a professor at Loyola Law School. I mean, all of these things kind of converged to be favorable to me. And so that's what I decided to do, and I enrolled at Loyola. My original plan was to stay in New Orleans and practice law there. I didn't think I really wanted to come back to Alexandria. But Susie did, and she felt strong about it. We still only had our first child at the time that we graduated, but we were interested in having a larger family. So it was either going to be New Orleans or Alexandria. I ended up accepting a position with a law firm here in Alexandria that was Stafford and Pitts. I started practicing in September of 1971. I graduated in 71. A more senior lawyer, Jim Trimble, who later became a federal judge, came over and joined us. Several of us, including Trimble, left and started our own firm. Ultimately, I ended up joining my old schoolmate, Sam Craven and Jock Scott. We formed a partnership and practiced until the mid to late 90s. I immediately got involved in the local bar here when we came back and I went to work at Stafford and Pitts. The Alexandria Bar Association was a real active group, both in terms of its social functions as well as being involved in a variety of community things. The bar was small enough that everybody kind of knew each other, and the more senior lawyers took interest in the younger lawyers and kind of functioned at times as mentors and that sort of thing. So there was a lot of that type of involvement and everything. So I was involved with the young lawyers and then the regular bar association. I became involved with the state bar, served on the young lawyers board. I had a couple of people who were unhappy with some of the judges here and kept talking to me about running. And my old experiences kept telling me, you don't want to get involved in having to run for office. But frankly, my discontent grew to the point that I needed to make a change. This was a judge who was running for re-election, and of course, one of the cardinal sins is that you don't try to unseat a sitting judge. I got in to the second primary. I got into a runoff with the sitting judge, but that judge only was a few votes shy of winning in the first primary. I made the decision to drop out. The court decided to create a new division in the court. They felt like that the caseload required that they expand the court. I was very fortunate. I got elected. The parish boundary case, Rapides Parish versus Grant Parish case. We tried that case, I think it was in early 2000, regarding a boundary dispute. And that occurred when Rapides filed suit in Rapides Parish against Grant Parish. It had political issues, economic issues. It could have affected residential areas. It could have affected a school or two. It was an enormous case. So back in the time when Justice Kimball was Chief Justice, she created a task force or a commission for the court could best address the self-represented party. She asked me to chair that, which I gladly accepted because it was something that I had an interest in. What came out of that was, while not all of our recommendations were adopted or embraced by the court, a number of things were in which we accomplished some meaningful changes that have helped self-represented parties and have helped the courts in dealing with them. One of those that has been very effective is that courts are creating special days, special docket times in which only self-represented parties come. In the time that I was on the bench, I had the opportunity to serve as the drug court judge. Our court has a treatment court program. And so the role of the drug court judge is to take responsibility for that treatment program, to see the clients that are in the program on a regular basis, to see that the drug court is doing what it's supposed to do and what it says it's doing, because we have the opportunity to change behaviors and have people who are using to be clean and not under the influence of drugs. And when that occurs with someone, it not only impacts them, but it has an enormous impact on their family. Many of our clients have children, and so it enables them to be a father or a mother. It enables them to be a son or a daughter. And it also enables them to be productive citizens in our community, contributing to their families and to this community. There isn't anything that I've done on the bench that has given me a greater sense of purpose that has meant more to me than the time that I served. I've been very fortunate. I've had an opportunity as a judge in particular to make a difference in people's lives, and I hope I've lived up to that responsibility that was given to me.